Pat Robertson wants to warn people against adopting children, which seems a little inconsistent with what Christians would usually preach for, right? But he basically received a call from a woman who has adopted children from different countries, and she's having a difficult time finding a man in her life. Well, here's the advice Pat Robertson gives to her.
A man doesn't want to take on the United Nations, and this woman's got all these various children and a blended family. I mean, what is it? And you don't know what problems are. I'm serious. You just never know what's been done to a child before you get that child. What kind of sexual abuse it's been, what kind of cruelty, what kind of food deprivation, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you're not a dog because you don't want to take on that responsibility. You don't have to take on somebody else's problems.
Is this man supposed to be conservative?
I think that he was actually quoting Jesus there.
That was the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard, but it perfectly illustrates how conservatives think. They want to force you to have children. They are against abortion, but once those children are born, they want you to make sure that you don't adopt them.
Oh,
because if you adopt
them,
don't bring them into the country, all right? Because no man wants to take on the United Nations.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, how much does he hate other cultures? Just as a baseline, like, why would you want a kid from another country? There's perfectly good malnourished kids in this country.
And you don't know what kind of sexual abuse or what kind of mental abuse or physical abuse those children went through, so why would you want to adopt them?
Yeah, just leave them in no, that's why you adopt them, because they had a hard life and you think that you can improve their life and make it better for them.
So
that's something you'd think Christians would want.
Let's ask that question. What's more moral? What Pat Robertson said in that video or what we're saying here right now? Like, when you really want to define morality and what would be a good thing to do, an ethical thing to do, a moral thing to do, would it be to toss children to the side and not adopt them because they might have gone through some sort of trauma earlier in their lives? And you don't want to adopt the United Nations. Who would want to do that?
And by the way, they might have been malnourished at one point. Okay, give them some food. They'll be better over time. That doesn't have to have lifelong problems for them, and you could help to be the one who fixes it.
Now, okay, and to be fair, look, there was a tiny bit of truth in what he was saying, in that, yeah, some guys would be uncomfortable getting involved with a woman who has adopted several children, right? I could totally understand that. But it's not the woman's fault.
Yeah.
It's the man's fault for not wanting to be with her, right? If she made the decision to adopt those children out of the goodness of her heart, that there's nothing wrong with that. You see what I'm saying? It's not even the man's fault either. That was a poor choice of words. If a guy doesn't want to get involved, he doesn't want to get involved. You have to wait and see if there's a guy who's right for you, right?
Yeah.
Just like any other situation.
And I'm not even saying there couldn't be some reason why somebody would have a problem with taking a child in without any knowledge whatsoever about some of the problems they might have, because while it's great for you to do what you can to help them, some people just might not be in a position to do so, and so it would be irresponsible of you to bring in children who require certain types of specialized help. That's fine if you want the stereotypical, like, godless, immoral atheist to give that sort of advice. That's fine, but you don't get to make that advice and then say that you represent the moral wisdom of God and Jesus. You don't get to do that.